This Locked On Big Ten podcast is for you if you're too busy to follow every Big Ten team, every Big Ten game over the weekend. Our rapid recap is next. We tell you everything you need to know from this weekend in less than 10 minutes. Locked On Big Ten starts right now.
You are Locked On Big Ten, your daily podcast on the Big Ten Conference. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to Locked On Big Ten. I'm Craig Sheeman, 40 years as a sports talk show host and play-by-play announcer. And I want to thank you for making us your first listen each and every day. We're free and available wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Hit that free subscribe button down below. That way you'll never miss a single episode. We're here every day. And if you could share, follow, and like, that would be great. And you can hype YouTube videos as well. So our rapid recap, every team, every game for the weekend, and a quick peek at what we're going to do next weekend regarding our world famous live podcast. All right. The 119th edition, the battle for the Paul Bunyan Trophy. Michigan wins at Michigan State 31-20. Michigan now 6-2. Remember, the loss to Oklahoma, the loss to USC. That's it. They're still in the mix. Michigan State's still looking for their first Big Ten win. Jonathan Smith, it's getting a little tough there. But Michigan's running game is the story here. Justice Haynes coming off the injury and Jordan Marshall combined for 262 yards and 3 touchdowns to beat the Spartans. Michigan ran the ball 49 times in this game. Even Bryce Underwood had a 13-yard touchdown run. His passing was not too spectacular, 8 of 17 for 86 yards. Meanwhile, a lot of just bad play by Michigan State, 12 penalties, 105 yards. They did have a bright spot. Mekhi Frazier had a career-high 109 yards on the ground. But Michigan has won 4 straight in this rivalry. Wink Martindale's defense is starting to dial things up for Michigan. They had 4 sacks, 6 tackles for loss, 4 pass breakups, and they looked pretty good most of the night. Keep an eye on them. Strange game at Autzen Stadium, right? Strange with the cool tie-dye uniforms. By the way, tie-dye merchandise at talkbig10.com, you Oregon fans, if you want to jump on it there, along with our podcast and the merchandise at talkbig10.com. But this game was scoreless for 28 minutes and 53 seconds, which, again, no big deal if you're thinking about Wisconsin. They've been shut out 2 games in a row and have very little go right for them. But for Oregon to also be scoreless almost to halftime, amazing. They finally did get a touchdown with a little more than a minute to go on Jordan Davison. Second half comes out. Dante Moore gets popped in the face. He's gushing blood. He didn't come back out, but he was on the sideline. I think it'll be okay. Everything looks good there. Brock Thomas comes in. He's throwing to offensive tackles in the end zone for a touchdown. Janoris Wilson, the 6'5", 320-pounder, eligible receiver to make it 21-0. But Wisconsin finally did score. They got themselves a touchdown. Hunter Simmons to Lance Mason. But we tallied it up now. So the touchdown was important for them to get. But they had gone 3 hours, 45 minutes, and 13 seconds of game time without a touchdown. That streak is finally over. But Oregon wins, Wisconsin with another loss. Indiana continues to be on cruise control. The number 2 team in the country. They beat UCLA 56-6. I mean, UCLA won 3 in a row. They were pretty hot. Indiana now 8-0. But they started off early. The first pass that Nico Iamaleava threw for UCLA was intercepted by Aiden Fisher. He ran it in for a touchdown. And the Hoosiers never looked back from that. Fisher did hurt his knee, came out of the game. Never left the sideline, though. Kurt Signetti says, be cool. It's precautionary. So if you're a Hoosier fan, no news on that. But the IU defense was incredible on the day. 3 sacks, 7 tackles for loss, 2 interceptions, including the one by Fisher, and 6 pass breakups and a fumble recovery. Fernando Mendoza threw a rare interception, but he also threw 3 touchdowns. He ran for another. His brother came in, Alberto, who backs him up, and he ran for a touchdown as well. Roman Hemby and Kalon Black combined for 151 yards on the ground and a couple of touchdowns, and receiver E.J. Williams had 5 catches for 109 yards. So, for UCLA, after the 0-4 start, then they won 3 games, then they lose here. You know, I don't want to take away anything that UCLA did, but those 3 wins in a row they had, those teams are combined 1-11 in the Big Ten. Just throwing that out there for you to think about for a moment. The Hoosiers are at Maryland next week. We'll talk about that game. It's going to be part of our live podcast over the weekend. Northwestern at Nebraska. Bit of a nail biter here. Nebraska wins 28-21. Nebraska is now 6-2, bowl eligible again, 2 years in a row. Northwestern, their 4-game winning streak is over. But the Huskers, they needed a win. They came off that horrible loss to Minnesota last week. You know, they actually blew a 15-point lead in this game as well. But we got to give the Huskers credit for winning a one-score game, because that's kind of been their problem, their Achilles heel over the years. Now, Emmett Johnson scored a go-ahead touchdown with 2:44 to go, a career-high 27 carries, had 124 yards. But I think the most impressive thing here, a nail-biter game, was about to slip away. Nebraska blows the 15-point lead. But right then, when they had to have it, they put together a 13-play, 64-yard drive that chewed up 6.5 minutes late in the game to get the win. Kenneth Williams had a 95-yard kickoff return. Isaiah Hunter had an amazing touchdown catch. You catch that video on social media. And the defense had a couple of interceptions. Bright spot for the Wildcats. Caleb Kumalapi, 17 carries, 125 yards, and 2 touchdowns as well. Both teams' next game on the schedule is USC. The Huskers host them in a blackout Saturday night in Lincoln. Meanwhile, Northwestern's on a bye, and they'll travel to USC the following week. Rutgers at Purdue. Crazy finish here. Rutgers wins on a field goal at the end, 27-24. They get their first Big Ten win. Purdue still looking for their first Big Ten win. But Jai Patel had a 30-yard field goal with no time left for the win. He had just kicked, that was the winning field goal at the end. He had kicked the tying field goal 66 seconds prior to that. And it was a weird play. Purdue, they threw a pass, it was deflected. Quarterback catches it, then he fumbles it. Rutgers gets it. Boom. Field goal. Ethan Kaliak-Manis threw for 359 yards, ran for touchdown, pass for another one. 72-yard touchdown pass was to KJ Duff. And we have to mention KJ Duff. Why? Because KJ Duff had 6 catches and 241 yards on the day. Rutgers put up 543 yards of offense. Antoine Raymond, 29 carries, 116 yards, and a touchdown. Malachi Singleton, the backup quarterback for Purdue, threw a couple of touchdown passes in this game. Purdue's at Michigan next, followed by Ohio State. That's going to be tough. Rutgers is at Illinois. Speaking of Illinois, this was a huge game. Maybe the biggest game when you think about it in the Big Ten this weekend. Number 23, Illinois at Washington. Both teams, same record, going into this game at 5-2, trying to get into that upper rung and get into the playoffs, right? And Illinois kept trying to hang with Washington, and then Washington would go ahead by a bigger score. It's kind of how the game was. The weather was crazy. Rain, wind, sun, everything but the kitchen sink. Washington wins 42-25. There's 6 wins now, 6-2, matching their win total from last year. And, of course, the Huskies bouncing back from that bad loss at Michigan. Denzel Boston threw a touchdown, caught a touchdown, career highs with 10 catches, 153 yards in that game. Damon Williams bouncing back from his 3-interception game at Michigan last week. 4 touchdown passes here. Desmond Roebuck with 2 touchdown catches as well. Huskies were great in the red zone, scored on all 6 opportunities. They were great on third down, which they've struggled with, 9 of 11 on the day. Defense had a couple of picks. Luke Altmaier, the 2 interceptions, he had 2 touchdowns to go with that, but their defense didn't help him out at all. No sacks or interceptions on that game. Minnesota at Iowa. I mean, Minnesota's been playing well. Iowa, they're being Iowa. I mean, go look at the stat sheet. In fact, we'll tell you some of the stats here, but we'll look at the stat sheet for Iowa, and you're like, how did they score 41 points? They did. Iowa wins over Minnesota 41-3 to improve to 6-2. 3 wins in a row since that loss against Indiana. They're bowl eligible. The Gophers hadn't given up a touchdown in 6 quarters, but they took on Iowa, and that changed fast. So here's how Iowa won the game without any one area just blowing up the stat sheet. They had a rushing touchdown. They had a passing touchdown. They had a defensive touchdown on a pick 6. They had a special teams touchdown on a punt return for 50 yards. It was 31-0 at the half with all these different scores that they had. Zach Lutmar had the pick 6. Mark Gronowski running for touchdown, passing for touchdown. And it was just an incredible day. And Iowa's on a bye, and they host Oregon on November 7th. And I think that's going to be pretty interesting. USC, Penn State, Maryland, and Ohio State all had the bye. There, I told you, the entire Big Ten weekend in 10 minutes. That's what we do on our rapid recaps. Look for them every Monday here on our Locked On Big Ten channel. In the meantime, we got a lot of things we want to cover here. It's a busy, crazy weekend coming up around the Big Ten. I'm going to give you our game plan. If you are new, hit that subscribe button. We're free. That way you get us every single day. And if you could share, follow, and like, that would be great as well. If you like audio only, we're on Apple and Spotify, in addition to YouTube as well. Make sure you check out our website, talkbig10.com, number 10. That's where all of our podcasts go. Plus, you get those new tie-dye shirts that Oregon is sporting these days right there with your Big Ten merchandise. All right, our weekend plans coming up next, our live broadcast, all the details right here on Locked On Big Ten. You want to go to a game? You need the Game Time app to get your tickets. It's that simple. And with college football in high gear, you want to actually go to a game after we talk about them all the time. You say, I would like to go. All right, where do I get tickets? Download the Game Time app on your device, a couple of taps, and you're going. Did you know you could get into a college football game for as little as $25 with Game Time? They have absolutely amazing deals, no surprise pricing. In fact, you'll get great pricing and the best seats available. Take the guesswork out of buying college football tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use the code LOCKEDONCollege, LOCKEDONCOLLEGE for $20 off. Swipe, tap, ticket, go. Download Game Time today. Add to the excitement of watching games with FanDuel. Have a little something on the games, and they get a lot more exciting. Even games you don't even care about, you start caring about. The NFL season is a mid-season swing. We're ready to roll. FanDuel has an offer that you don't want to miss to help you be involved with every single game. Right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $300 in bonus bets if that bet wins. That's right. So you pick a bet, put down $5. If it hits, you'll unlock $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. The app is super easy. Find your teams, your games, your point spreads, point totals, player props, futures. You can parlay them, go singular, whatever you want to do. It's all right there. And when you win, the payback is quick on the app. So what are you waiting for? Visit FanDuel.com and download the FanDuel app today and get started. That is at FanDuel.com. Thanks for checking us out here on Locked On Big Ten. We are here every day, and as you know, we go live on Saturdays after the biggest game of the weekend. Now, this is an interesting weekend, so bear with me here for just a minute. So, Penn State, Ohio State. On paper, that's the biggest game it has been. We've been waiting for it since summertime. I don't think that game looks that great right now, given what has happened to Penn State. So, that's a big new game on Fox. We're going to wait a little later in the day. As soon as number 2 Indiana is done at Maryland, that's a 3:30 game. So about 7 o'clock Eastern time, 4 o'clock Pacific, we're going to come on live. And that way we'll be able to recap the Penn State-Ohio State game. We'll recap Indiana, Rutgers and Illinois play early, Michigan State at Minnesota, Purdue's at, and then we'll preview the night games, Purdue at Michigan and USC at Nebraska for the blackout game. We'll get you ready for all of that. So mark your calendars, about 7 o'clock on Saturday. We'll go live here on Locked On Big Ten. Hey, before you go, hit that free subscribe button down below so you never miss a single episode. And if you could share, follow, and like, that would be great. Don't forget our website, talkbig10.com. All your favorite Big Ten merchandise, including those new tie-dye shirts and hoodies and T-shirts from the Oregon Ducks. But we have every Big Ten team there as well. Christmas is 2 months away. You want to check that out. And you can follow us on Twitter at TalkBig10. We're going to have Tuesday tweets tomorrow. Plus, you can find that website at talkbig10.com. Also, college football fans, Locked On and Fire TV present the College Football Kickoff, your ultimate college football weekly preview. Drake Toll of Locked On Big 12 leads the conversation along with two-time AP Coach of the Year Gary Patterson and former college star Jesse Holley and all of our Locked On experts, giving you everything you need to know for the weekend. A college football preview that only Locked On can do. Catch the college football kickoff every Thursday throughout the season, only on Fire TV. That'll do it for us. Another day in the books. Can't wait to talk to you again tomorrow. Tell your friends about us, because if you're a Big Ten fan, I know you know other Big Ten people. Let them know we're out here every single day. For Locked On Big Ten, I'm Craig Sheeman. Talk to you next time.